Hi and hello everyone. I'm your host Zahack Tanvir. Welcome all of you to remember the horrendous and the gruesome terrorist attacks that took place on November 26th, 2008 by the Pakistani Islamist terrorists. And we have gathered here today to remember these terrorist attacks and to let the world know that we have not forgotten the attack against the integrity of the Indian nation. Before we begin, I would like to give some fast facts to the audience about this incident. The attacks took place between November 26th and 29th in 2008, and 10 Pakistani terrorists associated with the terrorist group Lashkar-e-Taiba. They stormed the buildings in Mumbai, killing about 175 people and wounding 300. Jewish Rabbi Gabriel Holzberg and his six-month pregnant wife Rivska Goldsberg were also killed. Nine of the gunmen were killed during the attacks. One survived, and Mohammed Ajmal Kasab, the lone surviving gunman, he was executed in November 2012. They traveled all the way from Karachi, Pakistan to Mumbai via boat. Along the way, they hijacked fishing trawlers and killed 5 crewmen. And the attackers used automatic weapons and grenades. So this web conference, this webinar is for the remembrance of the victims of the Islamist terrorism. To talk about this interesting subject, an incredible subject, and the complex subject, we have an incredible panel today. Let me introduce them to you, and then I'm going to give them the mic. We have Rabbi Elchanan Poupko. He's a New York-based Jewish rabbi. He's a TEDx speaker, writer, and teacher. And we have Irina Tsukerman. She's a New York-based human rights lawyer, national security and geopolitical analyst. And we have advocate Chandni Shah. She is Delhi-based litigation and blockchain lawyer. She's media panelist, and interestingly, she is musician and singer as well. We also have Dr. Tarlochan Kaur. She is a UK-based Indian, and she's PhD in philosophy. She is a PhD in philosophy of Guru Granth Sahib Ji. She's also retired associate professor from Punjabi University of Patiala. We also have Mr. Jassem Tamim, who has recently completed masters in counterterrorism from King's College London, and he's right now pursuing his PhD in counterterrorism. So let's begin with the honored guest, Jewish Rabbi Poupko. Please go ahead.
First of all, thank you so much for organizing this and other initiatives that bring better understanding and cooperation between members of different faiths and different countries. I cannot thank you enough, and it's really people like you who work on the grassroots of building bridges of understanding and dialogue who really prevent such attacks from happening in the future. It's interesting, Chief Rabbi Sachs notes that one of the strange things about anti-Semitism is that it's a form of hate that can exist where the subjects of the hate do not live. And so even when there are communities that have never seen a Jew in their life, nonetheless, the blind hatred of so many centuries can carry on with them. And that's exactly what we saw in the case of this attacks, where people from Pakistan who likely never saw a Jew in their life ended up traveling so far, hundreds of miles, just to attack an innocent Jewish family. And so I think the importance of fighting such kind of blind hatred and bringing stronger understanding and collaboration, respect, really are vital, and I thank you for that. The second point I wanted to make is that you saw the Holzberg family, how obviously they're incredible suffering, but I don't know if many people know this. Last week, when the new Israeli government was sworn in, their son came in and read a chapter from the Bible, from Psalms, at the inauguration of the new government, which I think is very, very moving, because it shows us the triumph of life over death and the triumph of continuity over the many tragedies and destruction that terrorism brings. So I think that's sort of a positive note, if you can even say such a thing, to such a terrible event. And that's exactly what we're doing here. We're looking forward. We're looking to build a better world, a world with more understanding, peace, prosperity, and really good for everyone.
Thank you so much. Thanks a lot, Rabbi, for the interesting and incredible comments. We also have Advocate Chandni Shah from India. Miss Chandni Shah, since you're from India and you have lived in India, you have seen, I'm sure that you have seen these incidents happening. So would you share your insights about this incident? Would you please unmute yourself?
I'm so sorry. Um, I was saying that thank you, Tanvir, for inviting me on the platform. First of all, to share my thoughts on the attacks of 26/11, as well as the radicalization that is happening globally on a global level. And it is my honor to be sitting amongst all the dignitaries that are there over here. Uh, 26/11 attacks, to comment just on the attacks before that, I would like to shed some light upon the events that happened before 26/11 2008. 2 years back, there was a blast in Malegaon that happened in 2006, which was um, there, or which was done probably to coin the word Hindu terrorism. There were many attacks that had been done before that also. For example, there was a Nanded blast, which was a simple factory blast, but it was shown as, it was portrayed as that was also a terror attack by Hindu terrorists. So the attack that happened, the blast that happened in Malegaon, the people who were attached to those blasts, uh, post the attacks, pre-attacks, and during the court trials and the prosecutions and all, those people coincidentally were also somehow related to the 26/11 attacks also. For example, the death of the ATS chief, Hemant Karkare, the presence of the then Home Secretary Chitkala Zuchi in the Taj Hotel. Uh, there were many lags that happened, during the attacks. For example, the NSG commandos were not given permission to, fly immediately. The internal security establishment of India at that time was in Pakistan, and these things that I'm saying is on record. It can be verified. Uh, the then police commissioner of Mumbai, Mr. Rakesh Maria, also has written this in his book. Let me say it now, that if Kasab was not um, caught alive, which was all the way their plan, that no terrorist was supposed to be caught alive in the attacks that was supposed to be carried out on 26/11, because he had an Aadhaar card, that's an identity card, which bore the name Samir Chaudhary, hailing from Hyderabad. He had a red thread on his wrist, which supposedly was depicting that he's from the Hindu community, right? So these attacks, if he was not caught, then this would have been also coined as an attack carried out by the Hindu terrorists. The thing the thing that I want to say is that the then Indian government, which was UPA at that time, and the ISI and the Pakistan intelligence and Lashkar-e-Toiba at that time were hand in gloves for carrying out these attacks on the city of Mumbai. The five attacks that were carried out at five different places, the attack on Leopold Cafe, Nariman Point, where the Jews from Israel were tortured and killed, the attack on the Trident Oberoi, the Taj, and then there was a hospital also that was targeted. Uh, there are many unsolved queries and questions that are still, that are there in the minds of the people. For example, um, Kasab in his interrogation had told that there was an internal help that was provided. There was no investigation done about what and who that internal help was. Headley's handler, Mohammed Iqbal from ISI, he had confirmed that there was a mole in New Delhi. They called him the honeybee, who provided the help in Machimar Nagar. So that's a locality of fishermen in Kolaba, where these terrorists allegedly got down. They got help from a diesel scam kingpin who was staying in that community. And it is impossible for so many people uh, going from one, passing from one area without being recognized with so many arms and ammunitions and weaponaries and the communication, the things to communicate, like the materials to communicate with each other. So it was not possible from any end that there was no internal support that was provided. There was an intelligence report that there is a hostile Pakistani boat that has been spotted by the Navy, right? And when it's a protocol that when such a hostile boat is spotted, you do not lower down your surveillance. So, why was that surveillance lowered down? These are some very important questions that we still need to ask, and there still needs to be a committee that needs to be formed. The role of the politicians and the bureaucrats and the police and everyone involved at that period of time should be studied. It should be analyzed. And there's also the Mantralay fire that happened in 2012, right? Where allegedly all the call intercepts that supposedly happened between the handlers in Karachi and the terrorists on ground in Mumbai. All those call intercept papers were coincidentally burned in that fire in Mantralay. So neither that investigation took place. That how did that fire, got there into the first place? It got ignited. There was no investigation upon that. The Home Secretary Chitkala Zuchi, when she came into the court, she did not have. So I'm sorry, I'm just jumping from places, but these are the points that are crucial to say. So there is. Chitkala Zuchi was the person who was responsible to sign the prosecution order for Colonel Purohit, who was associated with the Malegaon blast. He was one of the accused in the Malegaon blast, right? To sign that prosecution order, because he was a serving army member at that point of time, to sign a prosecution order, that file needs to move around like 20-25 tables before it comes in the hands of the home secretary, and she signs off, the home secretary of the state, and she signs off. There were no written consent from her superior authority to sign off that prosecution letter, that prosecution order, right? So there are only two possibilities. One is that she overwent her superiors and signed the orders herself. And the other one is that she was verbally given orders to sign off the prosecution order. Coincidentally, the same woman was present in the Taj during the attacks, and she came out without a scratch in the attacks. When she was in court, coincidentally, just before that, the papers had all burnt off. And when she was asked whether, what was there in the review committee, what was decided, she just simply said that she does not remember whether she was a part of that review committee or not. All these things, bear a very, very important question: that were these attacks random? just carried out, randomly selected on a random date, or were these attacks carried out with the motive of closing the loose ends associated with the Malegaon blast? These are some very important questions that we still need to ask our present government also to work upon. And and the in a general sentiment that is there today in India, that people are distancing themselves from the Muslim community, or the kind of things that the media shows, the media which is so much influenced by the West today, that the agenda based is, that they show the rift between the two communities, which is actually not the thing that is happening. It is just shown as a propaganda uh, to the world, to show that this is a minority community that is being suppressed. No, India is the one nation where everyone comes to get an asylum when they are in need, not in the 52 Islamic countries that are there in the world. If they had not been feeling safe, they would have not turned and come to India, first of all. Second of all, this distance that is coming is not because there is a hatred for the community. One needs to understand that when there is something wrong that is happening in a society, you need to speak up, even if the perpetrators or the criminals are from your own community. And that, if you will speak up, I am sure, I am 100% sure all the people who actually are peace loving and are have love for their country are going to back you. They are going to stand with you. There is no way. There are so many progressive Muslims in India and around the world who have eventually come out and started speaking about the tyranny, about the suppression that they are going through. So once the people start speaking, once the people become vocal about what wrong is happening, without taking into consideration that there will be backlashes or whether someone will stand with them or not, at that point of time we would say that, okay, now there are chances that we might find a path to peace. Otherwise, there always will be people who would be dividing the common man, the common citizens, on the basis of religion, on the name of religion, and radicalizing them and make them work against their own country. People have to understand that when these kind of terrorist attacks are carried out, they are manipulated in the name of religion, and the collateral damages that happen, all kind of people lose their lives, all kind of people die. It's not just one community that is dying. It's humanity that's dying at the end. So we need to stop this reckless, mindless approach that we have of blaming each other. We need to stand and speak with one voice, and that's what's needed at a global level. So yeah, that's my thought for the attacks and the radicalization that's
No,
happening.
no, no. Amazing, amazing, amazing stuff you have spoken. In fact, you have spoken our hearts out. There is a conspiracy which is going on against India right now, and this has been realized that they want to divide the communities in India, and they want to create a kind of scaremongering in India, and that's what's happening right now. And
Correct.
unfortunately, a lot of people get into this trap, and they start believing this propaganda. And unfortunately, I have to say that this propaganda is mostly triggered by the left dominated media, the left and the left oiled media. They usually do this. And we have to, yes, we have to stand up, we have to collaborate, we have to make alliances, we have to stand against this dividing policy, and we have to work for the better nation, and we have to work for this stability. So wonderful thoughts, Advocate Chandni Shah. Thank you so much. Thanks a lot. I uh, I think we can move on to the next speaker. We have Irina Tsukerman. She's a New York-based lawyer and human rights lawyer, and she is national security and global geopolitical analyst, and she has written papers and articles in a lot of newspapers. And in fact, I did some of the podcasts with her in the past, and she is very knowledgeable. Welcome to you, Miss Irina.
Thank you so much for inviting me to discuss this occasion. Unfortunately, the issue has still fully not been resolved, even after all this time, and it has both international security and international human rights implications beyond even what happened to India and to Indian communities and citizens due to the international nature of terrorism that cannot be separated from local and regional issues and concerns. Several weeks ago, there was a presentation at the United Nations by the Indian intelligence, which played a recording linking one of the terrorists involved in Lakshar Taiba, uh, Sajid Mir, who is still wanted for the with respect to these terrorist attacks. And uh, essentially, there is a concern that a number of individuals linked to the blast have not faced justice. Pakistan has not brought them to justice, despite evidence of their involvement. Moreover, um, during the course of these attacks, 3 Americans were killed, and as a result, the CIA has confronted the Pakistani ISI with evidence showing that Pakistan's intelligence was directly involved in this terrorist attack, that they were linked to Lashkar-e-Taiba, and that those attacks were not a random attack planned by terrorists as a result of the activity, but they were coordinated with some elements of state power. To this day, U.S.-Pakistani relations are no longer what they were once were, and to this day, not everyone has been brought to justice. The terrorists who were involved were at the time operating from Kashmir, which was subsequently integrated by India, and this had at one point caused a great deal of outrage among various Islamist groups and state sponsors of the Islamist movement. What makes this situation truly international and global is that terrorist organizations, they don't operate simply on their local issues. Lashkar-e-Taiba has links to other terrorist groups and extremist movements globally, and much of its ideology is reflected in other uh, extremist movements such as the Muslim Brotherhood and various international terrorist organizations. What's even more interesting to note is that there's been international efforts to bring these terrorists to justice since then. Um, there's been efforts to designate them and sanction them under international laws, but China, which supposedly acted, uh, has condemned terrorism and it's even uh, used the claim of countering terrorism as the basis for its abuses against the Uyghur community, blocked the bids to designate several of the terrorists that are based in Pakistan. It has one of the proposals to sanction was to sanction Talha Said. He is the son of the chief of Lashkar Taiba, Hafiz Said, and India was trying to sanction this guy, and U.S. supported it under the 1267 sanction resolution, but China blocked those attempts, and um, here we are seeing a clear geopolitical backing. Um, this is not this further this further underscores the role of Pakistani state in this situation, because otherwise China benefits from stabilizing the region. China benefits from getting rid of terrorists, but nevertheless, because Pakistan is apparently involved as a state, and Pakistan has become China's client state with many economic infusions and projects internally. China has moved in support of these interests. The fact that Pakistan is openly blocking investigations into terrorists and preventing terrorists from being sanctioned and has not brought them to justice is a question for the international community, because a terrorist attack in one place is a threat to global security. There were people from different countries who were killed, and India is also Mumbai is a huge international city with tourists and business visitors from all over the world. The fact that this group targeted such an area shows that they are a global threat, and they deliberately targeted various types of interests. They targeted hotels where people who were travelers were staying. They targeted Chabad with Israeli Jews. They targeted train stations where people would be passing back and forth, and cafes. So the message there was clearly very much international. It was not just India specific. And the message of terrorism is also international. They don't recognize borders. They don't recognize state powers, and they will coordinate with anybody, including client states, in order to press forward with the agenda. And make no mistake, they are under control of state powers. Otherwise, they would be shut down and not be allowed to operate, because intelligence agencies know how to care of security issues when they want to. So the fact that they enjoy continuing protection from the ISI, that they have not been shut down in Pakistan, shows that there is a continuing purpose to their existence, that the story does not end with the Mumbai terrorist attacks, and that there is a reason why they're being kept around. They continue to present danger. They continue to present danger to international peace, security, to human rights, and they continue to not recognize the human rights of anybody except for people who share their worldview. They are indeed pushing for an increasingly sectarian, polarizing narrative. They're seeking to create problems. In September, India shut down another terrorist linked group called PFI that was operating in its territory, among other places, and that had links to several radical organizations, including the Southeast Asian ISIS Islamic State presence. Um, and uh, all these terrorist groups seem to have while they have different methods and different members, they share the same agenda, the same outlook, and the same mentality, and they capitalize on the same types of political issues and divisions. And the propaganda machinery that the previous speaker pointed to seems to try to underplay their international terrorist links, and instead uh, to portray any crackdown on these terrorist and extremist groups and movements as some sort of an undemocratic, anti-Muslim move by the Indian authorities. Instead, it should be recognized that terrorists target Muslims as much as they target anybody else, if not more, and consistently they're targeting Muslim communities in India, not just for radicalization, but for destruction, because they do not view any communities that are tolerant and open to other religions and cultures They see them as an obstacle to their own agendas. They see them as not in line with their own vision of the world, with their own paradigm, and they are actually their main targets even before those from people from other religions. This is the vision, the understanding of the way terrorists and extremists operate that needs to be changed internationally to break down this narrative against India, because in that sense the Indian authorities and the Muslim communities are very much on the same page. The problem of the extremists is a problem of trying not only to radicalize people but to completely destroy any alternatives to their own religious paradigms and dogmas, or pseudo-religious, I should say. And the terrorist attacks, they are a vehicle to promoting the dogma. They are not merely a way to destroy as many people as possible and to create fear, confusion, and internal divisions. It should be understood that it's actually only a first step, because they capitalize on the international reactions, they capitalize on political divisions, and they use terrorism to spark wider reactions, to spark wider debates, and to spark wider divisions over security, human rights, and propaganda. Because at the end of the day, terrorists are not stronger than international institutions and state actors. They understand it, and what they seek is to use these initial reactions to weaken international resolve.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Irina, for this wonderful information. And I'm quite happy that you know about the banning of the PFI organization in India, Popular Front of India, and it's very nice that you know about it. You know the depth about the Indian politics as well, and I wish that you can be a great asset to the Indian foreign policy as well. Um, I would like to invite Dr. Kaur, who is UK-based Indian. She is a PhD in philosophy of Guru Granth Sahib, and she is a retired associate professor from Punjabi University, Patiala. Uh, Dr. Kaur, over to you. Would you please unmute? Would you please unmute yourself? No, we cannot hear you. We cannot hear you.
Hello.
Yes, yes, now we can hear. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. As you told, I am Dr. Tarlochan from Punjabi University, Patiala, retired professor. But here, I thank you, all of you, to giving me this platform. लेकिन I will speak in Hindi, so please tolerate me. बात मैंने पहले जो मेरी सिस्टर्स ने की है, उनको मैंने बहुत ध्यान से सुन रही थी कि उन्होंने जो राजनीति में जो प्रॉब्लम्स थी जिसके कारण वो अटैक हुआ, जहाँ वो अटैक जो मुंबई में 26 और 28 के नवंबर के 2008 के बीच में हुआ, उसके रीजंस क्या थे, उसके पीछे क्या पॉलिसी काम कर रही थी, मैं बहुत ध्यान से उसको सुन रही थी। लेकिन मैं जो चीज आपके सामने देने के लिए आपके रूबरू हो रही हूँ, वो है कि इसके पीछे अगर किसी भी देश, किसी भी धर्म या किसी भी जो सोशल सोसाइटीज जो हैं उनको छोड़ दें, तो मैं एक बात जो जिस सोच को लेकर मैं आपके सामने रूबरू हूँ, वो है कि इंसानियत क्या है, मानवता क्या है, क्या चाहे वो कसाब हो, चाहे वो राना हो, चाहे वो पाकिस्तान वालों, उनकी जड़ें पाकिस्तान कराची से जुड़ी हो, या वो पहली बार नहीं हुआ है, बहुत बार हो चुका है, और हम उसको समय के साथ भूल नहीं सकते। वो हमें बार बार इस चीज की याद दिलाता है कि बार बार इस चीज की याद दिलाता है कि 2008 में क्या हुआ था। तो अगर हम उसकी जड़ में जाएं, उसके कारण में जाएं, तो सबसे पहले जो रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी है वो एक मानव की है, एक मनुष्य की है। अगर हम उसको उस एंगल से सोचते हैं, तो जब ये ड्यूटीज या ये काम दिया जाता है कि दूसरे मुल्क में जाके अंधाधुंध फायरिंग करो, किसी बच्चे को भी मत देखो, किसी औरत को भी मत देखो, किसी इंसान को मत देखो, और आंखें बंद करके सबको मार दो, तो जो इंसान इस काम में लगते हैं, क्या उनकी इंसानियत खत्म हो चुकी है? क्या वो मानव नहीं है? क्या वो पहले इंसान नहीं है जो सोसाइटी में है, सोसाइटी में रहते हैं, सोसाइटी के लिए काम करते हैं? तो मैं क्योंकि एक छोटी मोटी राइटर भी हूं, तो जब 2008 में 26 नवंबर को ये वाकया हुआ था, तो आपके साथ तो मैं अभी बात कर रही हूं, लेकिन तब भी इसका रिएक्शन जो था, वो मेरे मन के ऊपर क्या हुआ था, वो मैं अपनी एक जो पोएम है, एक जो कविता है, उसके जरिए आप तक पहुंचाना चाहती हूँ, और चाहती हूँ कि जो लोग इस लेवल पे सोचते हैं, जो लोग इंसानियत को भूलकर इंसानियत के दुश्मन बन जाते हैं, उन लोगों को कैसे हम लोग रास्ते पे ला सकते हैं, कैसे उनको ये चीज समझाई जा सकती है कि आप पाकिस्तानी बाद में हो, आप हिंदुस्तानी बाद में हो, आप किसी कंट्री के नुमाइंदे बाद में हो, लेकिन पहले आप खुदा के नुमाइंदे हो, पहले आप इंसान हो, पहले आप इंसानियत के प्रति आपकी जिम्मेवारी बनती है। मैं सिर्फ 2-4 लाइनों में आपको वो अपनी वो जो मेरी फीलिंग थी, क्योंकि कहते हैं ना कि समाज में जो राइटर्स होते हैं, उनकी फीलिंग्स, वो संवेदना जो है, वो सबसे अलग होती है। वो उस चीज को ज्यादा बारीकी से, ज्यादा छोटे निचले लेवल से कैच करते हैं। तो मैं ये आपके रूबरू आज हो रही हूँ, मौका मुझे मिला है, मैं सबकी थैंक्स करती हूँ इसके लिए। लेकिन उस टाइम जब 26 नवंबर को ये घटना हुई, मैं इसको घटना नहीं, मैं इसको दुर्घटना बोलती हूँ, कि जो मनुष्य के मन में पाप आ जाता है, जब मनुष्य के मन में इंसानियत के प्रति विकार आ जाता है, तभी वो ये काम करता है। तो उस टाइम 8 दिसंबर को मैंने एक कविता इसी घटना के ऊपर लिखी थी। मैं कुछ चंद लाइनें आपके साथ वो शेयर करना चाहती हूँ। हम सभी मिलकर जब भी समाज के बारे में बात करते हैं, तो हम ये बोलते हैं कि ये सिविलाइज्ड है, ये अनसिविलाइज्ड है। तो क्या वो हमला सिविलाइज्ड लोगों का था? क्या उनके मन में ये विचार नहीं आया कि हम जिन लोगों को मार रहे हैं, उनका कसूर क्या है? उन्होंने क्या खता की है? उन्होंने हमारे धर्म का क्या बिगाड़ा है? अगर ये सोच लेके वो हिंदुस्तान में आते, तो हमारे सत्कारत होते वो। लेकिन वो जो सोच लेके आए, उसी सोच के खिलाफ मैंने जो सोचा, वो मैं आपके रूबरू कर रही हूँ। क्योंकि समस्या तो हो चुकी है, अब उसके बारे में कुछ हल नहीं हो सकता, लेकिन ये समस्या आगे ना हो, इसके बाद ना हो, हमें अभी इन प्लेटफॉर्म से ये सोचना है। ये नहीं सोचना है कि वो हमला हुआ, वो क्यों हुआ, किसके कारण हुआ, किसने किया। वो बातें हो चुकी हैं, उनको बार बार जैसे कहते हैं, पानी को रिड़कने से कुछ नहीं निकलता। लेकिन अगर हम समाज के लेवल पे सोचते हैं, तो हमें ये सोचना पड़ेगा कि उनको रोकना कैसे है, उनको रोका कैसे जा सकता है। तो मैं उसके ऊपर मेरी कविता थी, क्योंकि मैं एक लेखक हूं। तो मैं लड़ाई के क्या माध्यम थे, लड़ाई का क्या तरीका था, कितने लोगों को, निर्दोष लोगों को बिना कारण बिना कसूर मार दिया गया, उसके पीछे क्या सोच है आपकी? आप क्या सोचते हो कि इतने लोगों को एक प्लेटफॉर्म पे जाके, एक रेलवे स्टेशन पे या एक होटल में जाके, आपको शायद अगर इतिहास याद है तो आपको मारतंड के मंदिरों के बारे में घटना जरूर याद होगी। मंदिर मारतंड के खंडर, जब उन खंडरों को बनाया, उस मंदिरों को खंडर बनाया गया, तो भाई वीर सिंह ने कहा था, मंदिर मारतंड के खंडर, मंदिर तोड़े दिल पर टूट दे, दिल काबा रबाने। रब का घर है हमारा दिल। तो फिर इसको, अगर आप रब में यकीन कर रहे हैं, आप धर्म को लेकर अटैक कर रहे हैं, तो फिर आप किस बात पे यकीन करते हैं? तो मेरी चंद लाइनें उसके बारे में है। हो सकता है मेरी जो फीलिंग है, मेरी जो संवेदना है, वो किसी एक के मन को घायल कर दे। 1+1 2 बनते ने, 1+1 2 बनते हैं, ठीक है। पर 1 ते 1 11, अगर 1 के साथ 1 लगा दिया जाए तो वो 11 हो जाते हैं, ठीक है। हाथ नाल जे हाथ मिले ता आतंक हो जाए 9-2 11, वो भगा सकते हैं हम, लेकिन तब जब हम ये सोचना छोड़ दें कि हम मुस्लिम हैं, हम हिंदू हैं, हम सिख हैं, हम ईसाई हैं। नहीं, हम सब सिर्फ इंसान हैं। इंसानियत के नाते इंसानियत के दुश्मनों को हटाना, उनको रास्ते में हटाना भी गलत बोल रही हूँ, हटाना नहीं चाहते हम लोग उनको अपने भाई बनाना चाहते हैं। हम लोग उनको अपने जो साथी हैं वो बनाना चाहते हैं, ताकि वो भी वैसा सोचें जो इंसानियत के लिए सुखदायक हो, जो इंसानियत के लिए बढ़िया हो। तो मैं एक सिर्फ 2-4 लाइनों में, कदों तक असी धर्मां ते भरमां दी पट्टी बन के, कब तक हम धर्म और भरम की पट्टी आंखों पे बांध के मनुखी हक्कां ते चलाउंदे रहांगे आरा। राइट्स है, मैं मुस्लिम हूं, मैं हिंदू हूं, मेरा धर्म है कि मैं अपने धर्म को बचाऊं, दूसरे जाएं भाड़ में, ऐसा सोचते हैं हम। लेकिन ये नहीं सोचना, सोचना ये है कि जो मेरा भाई है उसका भी वही धर्म है जो इंसानियत का, चाहे खुदा है, चाहे गॉड है, चाहे वाहिगुरु है, चाहे राम है, जो भी, जिस भी धर्म को आप मानते हो, लेकिन बेसिकली हो तो आप इंसान ना। वो जो इंसानियत का धर्म है वो आपका कहाँ चला जाता है जब ऐसे काम करते हो आप कि शरेआम गोलियों से भून देते हो। मुझे तो वो घटना भी याद आ रही है जब पाकिस्तान में एक स्कूल में छोटे छोटे बच्चों को एक आपकी कम्युनिटी के, मुस्लिम कम्युनिटी के लोगों ने ही खत्म कर दिया था। तो क्या वो धर्म की राखी कर रहे थे? क्या वो धर्म के रखवाले थे? नहीं, वो इंसानियत के कातिल थे, वो मानवता के दुश्मन थे। तो हमें पहचान करनी है उनकी कि क्या वो धर्म को बचा रहे हैं, धर्म को फैला रहे हैं, धर्म का प्रचार कर रहे हैं, या धर्म को कुएं में गिरा रहे हैं, खाई में गिरा रहे हैं वो धर्म को। आओ सभ्यक ਅਤੇ असभ्यक शब्दां ਦੇ अर्थ समझिए। You know, civilized and uncivilized, क्या वो लोग सिविलाइज्ड थे? अरे बंदर से हम लोग इंसान बने हैं, जानवर से हम लोग इंसान बने हैं, तो फिर आप दोबारा से जानवर क्यों बनना चाहते हो? इस इंसानियत को खुदा बनने तक लेके जाओ, इसको इंसान से देवता बनने तक लेके जाओ, ताकि हमारी दुनिया, मैं अपना हिंदुस्तान नहीं बोल रही हूँ, मैं पाकिस्तान भी नहीं बोल रही हूँ, मैं यहाँ यूके में बैठी हूँ, मैं इसको भी नहीं बोल रही हूँ, मैं सिर्फ बोल रही हूँ कि इंसान की दुनिया उसकी पूरी दुनिया है। पूरी दुनिया में इंसान सब एक है, एक जैसे हैं। तो क्या उन लोगों को हम रास्ते पे लाके इसको अपने इंसानियत को बचा नहीं सकते? यही बचानी है हमें। कारण कुछ भी हुआ हो, भेजा किसी ने भी हो, या कुछ भी हो, लेकिन वो गलत था, उसके पीछे जो सोच थी वो बिल्कुल गलत थी। उसको सही करना, हम सब जो आप लोग बैठे हो, चांदनी बहन ने पहले जो बात कही थी मैं बिल्कुल सहमत हूं उससे, दूसरी सिस्टर ने भी बोला था कि हम लोग पीसफुल लोग हैं, हम लोग शांति प्रिय हैं, तो हमें शांति प्रिय क्यों नहीं रहने दिया जाता? क्यों हमें उन रास्तों पे घसीटा जाता है जहां हम जाना नहीं चाहते, जिनको हम अपनाना नहीं चाहते? तो एक सिर्फ 2 लाइनें लास्ट में है, आओ सभ्यक और असभ्यक का अर्थ समझें। छोड़ दिया है हम लोगों ने उसको कि हम लोग सिविलाइज्ड हैं, हम लोग पढ़े लिखे, नहीं भी पढ़े लिखे तब भी सिविलाइज्ड हैं हम, क्योंकि हमने बहुत लंबा सफर तय किया है इंसान बनने के लिए, आज का इंसान का रूप धारण करने के लिए। तो फिर ये घटनाएं ये जो हो रही हैं, एक मुंबई वाली एक घटना के बारे में नहीं, मैं उन सब घटनाओं के बारे में बात कर रही हूँ कि वो गलत है, बिल्कुल गलत है, उनके पीछे जो भी मंशा रही हो, लेकिन वो इंसानियत के नाते पे बिल्कुल गलत है। ते आओ सभ्यक ते असभ्यक शब्दां दे अर्थ समझिए ते ना लाइए सभ्यता दे मत्थे उत्ते कलंक। ये एक बहुत काला धब्बा है हमारे माथे पर, सब मनुष्यों के बारे, सिर्फ कसाब, सिर्फ राना, सिर्फ ये, सिर्फ वो, उनके नहीं, ये हम सबके माथे पर कलंक है कि हमने निर्दोष लोगों को मारा है। हमने एक बात और मैं क्लियर कर देना चाहती हूँ कि जो मर गए वो मर गए, चले गए वो ऊपर, हमसे बहुत दूर चले गए। क्या हमने कभी सोचा है कि उनके परिवार जो यहाँ हैं हमारे सामने, उनका क्या हाल हुआ होगा? वो किस तरह से जी रहे हैं? उनके बच्चे, उनकी पत्नियां, उनके माँ बाप, बूढ़े माँ बाप जिनको सिर्फ उनका सहारा था, उनके बारे में सोचा क्या हमने? कभी कभी नहीं सोचा। हमने तो ये सोच लिया कि 100-150 बंदे खत्म कर दिए तो वो उन्होंने अपना काम कर दिया, हमने अपना काम कर दिया, हम उसको रिजेक्ट कर रहे हैं, हम उसकी निंदा कर रहे हैं, काम खत्म। अरे नहीं, अभी काम शुरू हुआ है हमारा। उनके पीछे जो उनके परिवार हैं उनको देखना, उनके लिए कुछ करना, क्या नेशनल, इंटरनेशनल या कंट्री के प्लेटफॉर्म पर उनके लिए कुछ किया जा रहा है? मैंने तो नहीं सुना, मुझे तो नहीं पता। लेकिन अगर नहीं पता, नहीं जाना, तो मेरी ये दोनों हाथ जोड़ के आप सबको बेनती है कि इस चीज को आगे लेके आओ कि उनके परिवारों को हम कैसे संभाल सकते हैं, उनके परिवारों को हम कैसे इस तरह की मदद दे सकते हैं कि वो अपने उन प्यारों को भूल जाए। उनको भूलेंगे तो कभी नहीं वो, लेकिन कम से कम उनको थोड़ा सा सहारा, थोड़ा सा आसरा जो है वो हम दे सकें। थैंक यू वेरी मच।
बहुत बहुत बढ़िया डॉक्टर कौर साहिबा, आपने बहुत अच्छा बोला है। आपकी जो लाइंस हैं दिल को छू गई हैं, और आपने जो अपनी जो दिल की बात रखी है हम लोगों को, यानी हम कोशिश, दुआ यही करते हैं कि आपकी जो मनोकामना है वो पूरी हो। थैंक यू सो मच।
थैंक यू वेरी मच।
I think it was strange for Jassem and Irina that she was speaking in Hindi language, and she was actually expressing her heart out, and she was speaking about her feelings. She wrote a poetry, so she was actually explaining that to us. So Mr. Jassem, it's your turn now. We would like to hear from you. And I have a concern. I have not exactly a concern, but I have a question for you before you begin your talk. That we often hear that these are the especially these terrorist attacks are carried out by the Salafis. So I want you to also highlight about whether Salafis are real terrorism, or is it the handiwork of the Muslim Brotherhood?
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Thank you so much. I would like to pick up quickly from what the lady was talking about, because it was very hard speech, and I could feel her pain and her concern. And I just want to start by telling her that it's not about civilization or uncivilization. It's not about someone who is accepting of the rules of or the norms of the way of life that we created as humans. It's about a word that is equal in Arabic and in Hindi, which is fitrat. The fitrat is the nature that we were created upon, with whichever religion we belong to. The fitrat is that kind of software, built-in software that comes within us, and it is the one responsible of keeping everything in order. When the fitrat get corrupt, everything can happen. And when we seek to answers to how to communicate with people, I think we should start from fitrat first. They go to their very nature, the start of their nature, because it's still there. It will not go away. Even the worst criminal still have the built-in fitrat that Allah created in them, that to keep them human, to keep them. This is exactly what attracts us to the beautiful things in life. You know, if you bring people from two different cultures and you show them a flower, and you show them some scorpion, you know, they will fear the scorpion and they will feel attracted by the flower. This is not something that you teach people. Something that is born with us. We know what is good and what is bad. We know what makes us happy and what makes us sad. The problem, doctor, is that people, they weaponize our weaknesses. And the extreme example for this is with Hitler, who used to do experiments on the physical level. You know, he used to hold these Jewish captives and analyze what makes the people suffer more. You know, not only in chemical weapons, but also in torture, in ideology. And so the people who want to weaponize, want to fight a war, they use everything, and they're so convinced to be superior. They use everything which is available to them just to defeat you. So they will try to corrupt your fitra. They will try to corrupt your feeling of love that you have for your Muslim neighbor, that the people you grew up with. And that brings me to my memories with this attack. First thing I heard is like someone was saying this is India's 9/11, and the first thing that came to my mind, yeah, but India is not America. India is unlike any other country, and India is a nation on its own, you know, and it has a culture and resilience and people that dealt with it in different way. So I'll go back to the question of my brother. I will put that question on hold about Salafism, because I think it is very important. And I will start from the speech of the Rabbi, and I want to attract your attention to the anti-Semitic component in all terrorist attack that did happen within the last 100 years in the name of Islam, who carried out by Muslims, people who self-identify as Muslims. And you will find out that wherever there is a Jewish victim, even there's American victim and they are Jew, the Jewishness of the victim give more value to the attack somehow, you know, because they target the Jewish person because they feel that the Jewish person is worthy to be targeted. And that's very interesting that in India also we saw this happening as well, even if there are plenty of infidels in the around. They still went to in their theory, they still went to target the Jewish person, you know, so to give like some sort of connection to the ideology of Al Qaeda, ideology of international terrorism. So just to show to other Muslim in the world that we care about Palestine, we care about the community and so ever. So that brings me to the scale of the attack, which it was unprecedented. I can't remember anything else that happened to that level and with that such organization. And just keep in mind that this attack took place within the time that Al Qaeda was at its peak, you know, and they brought the standard up, you know, so they rose the standards, and all they put every terrorist group willing, or every terrorist plot willing to carry attacks. They put them in difficulty that they had to do something big that keeps the cameras on them for as long as possible, you know, and bring the media attention and put the government into trouble to show the Indian government unwilling to deal with the problem as it unfolds. So the scale also has to be in the case of India. It was extraordinary to observe how the Indian people responded to the attack. it was totally different from how Western people responded, because India is one community, is one nation, is one culture. And also India had been through a lot of problems in the past. That India had a build-up of conflicts and bloody conflicts and terrorism. And the Indian people, they understand that terrorism is a weapon. It's not the ideology. The ideology is a part of the action, is a part of the attack. But Indian people and other people who've been victim of terrorism, like Jewish people as well, all their lives, they understand that terrorism is a weapon. It's just like someone pulling a gun at you or putting a bomb. But they pull this tactic of terrorizing because it unfolds within minutes. The preparation take months, maybe years, but it happened within minutes. Unlike the conventional wars, that the conventional wars start two sides clashing, and there are negotiations, there are tactic, there are strategy. But the terrorist attack is different. The preparation take a lot of time, but it unfolds quickly, and that's exactly what they're looking for. They're looking for to surprise the population. They're looking to hurt the feeling of the population and to put them one against each other. And I believe, in that sense, the attack failed. I understand we will live with the sorrow and with the remembrance of the victims, but we have to be proud of the way Indian people responded, the Indian government and international community also responded to this kind of attempt to divide the Indian society. However, years ahead, there is something new happening in the last. Has been happening in the last 5, 6, 10 years, that we see now something that could be we can see the consequences of the attack now coming, like the aims sought by the terrorists then start happening now. Start materializing this conflict between Hindu and Muslims, which is not. It's not anymore like it used to be, something local, something between two shopkeepers, and it unfolds to the whole streets and the whole district. Now it's something between the Hindu as a community. This is how they want it to be, and the Muslim as a community. We are talking about 2 billion of people at least clashing with each other, because when we talk about Muslims, you don't only talk about Muslims in India. You talk about Muslim community internationally. When something happened in India, the reaction reached Dubai, reached Saudi Arabia, reached Europe, reached UK. So now it is happening. We should not be scared, and we should focus and try to understand what changed, what made this conflict, what make it look, what make it to this scale. And I think, in my opinion, it's the role of social media and the access to information, the like misinformation or quick access to the news. Now we have the news in our mobile phones, and and also we have a lot of fake news, and people, they just post whatever, all this infographics, and there is some sort of influence. The Hindu, obviously there are extremists everywhere, and to deny there are Hindu extremists, that would be unscientific and nonsensical. We have our extremists. Hindu people have their extremists. Jewish people have their extremists. The problem is like how to deal with these fringes and make sure they don't take over. And now, because there's this connection between the right wing in the West, like white supremacy, and some people who are extremists in India, and they try to they communicate, because social media put these people together in one space, out of control. And when they see the attack on Muslims, like even the same language, if you go translate it from Hindi to English, you will see that this is almost the same language. The foreigners and they breed like rabbits. All this is exactly the same identical language. And this is not a coincidence. These are things. Unfortunately, now the academia, they're not putting much intention, much focus on that. But I'm confident that Indian intellectuals and scientists and social scientists, they can deal with this problem and quantify it and bring it to the light. And this brings me back to your question about the Salafi accusations. When the lady was talking about civilization and where is the insaniyat, where is the human side of in all this. what came to my mind is the rise of ISIS. We saw that when ISIS could be for now could be the highest level that any terrorist organization could reach is to take control of a land with its people, with its resources. It's I think this is the highest level that any terrorist organization ever reached. And we if we observe what they did after they acquired this kind of power, the reaction was directed, even to acquire this power, the reaction was directed mainly to Muslims. They came out, ISIS was so successful in reaching its goals quickly because they came out with this idea to free what is already free. They call it Tahrir al-Muharrar. So they don't go and fight with the Syrian regime. They go and fight with other groups who fought with Syrian regime, and they free the land. So they go and they take it from them, because it is more shocking. As we spoke about the shock when we start talking about this, it is more shocking to a Muslim to be attacked by a Muslim than to a non-Muslim to be attacked by a Muslim. So that effect of surprise, that is exactly what gave ISIS the time that it needed to shock people and to get people to surrender. Because when they arrive there, Muslims, they start thinking, okay, this is not Bashar. This is not some Western government. These are brothers. So they don't react to the attack like they would attack if they were attacked by Israel or by America or by. So when we observe the way ISIS reacted, we can understand that it is not about religion. It's not about ideology. This is a warfare tactic. Terrorism is a warfare tactic, and it is used by states. It is used by non-state actors. So that's what I had to say. Last thing I want to add, a coincidence, the majority of the panel today is women, is made of women. I want just to add something. Let's not underestimate the role of women in these conflicts, because the things like we see, as I said, the attacks happen over 5-10 over minutes. But in the background, women, they play a big role in preventing these attacks, because the woman is the one who knows the secrets of the son, of the husband, of the society, of the things, of the neighbors. She knows the feelings. She can feel what's going on. She have the ability to educate. And if we empower women with the tools they need, so we can defeat terrorism from within. That's the thing I wanted to say.
Thank you. Wonderful. Thank you so much, Mr. Jassem. At last, we have Mohammed Abbasi joining us directly from United Kingdom. He's Director of Association of British Muslims. I welcome Mr. Abbasi to this session. Abbasi, we would like to hear your thoughts about the 26/11 attacks that took place in 2008 in Mumbai, India. The terrorists attacked the the economical capital of India. So we would like to hear your thoughts about it. Unmute yourself and please.
Okay, let me just open the mute button. Hold on a second. By the way, this first I'm using Stream directly to this. Install, not install update. Let me just try this.
No, you can speak. We can hear you, so you can just go ahead.
Oh, okay, wonderful. Well, thanks for inviting me. First of all, my apologies. I had another session earlier on, and also, by the way, congratulations to Saudis for winning against Argentina in the football match in Doha.
That's great.
So So basically, let me respond. Basically, the key is basically the impact of the attack on Indo-Pakistan ties. So the response, first of all, from both Indian and Pakistani governments was initially not to cast blame on each other's government on that, but more or less from the Indian side was to kind of direct the conversation on elements within Pakistan. Some of those elements were supported by the Pakistani security forces, according to the Indians. The attackers in Mumbai, like all terrorists, look to create maximum coverage for their actions. So they struck India's financial capital so that the TV screens around the world would project images of this black smoke rising and flames everywhere. So the iconic Taj and the Oberoi hotels were attacked. So in doing so, they wanted or they hoped not just to cripple India's growing reputation as a global powerhouse, economic powerhouse, and tourist destinations, but to cast a body blow to a growing friendship between Indians and Pakistanis, because that was what was happening around that time or just before that time. So when something like this happens, it's usually to attack not just India, but to attack potential relations between Indians and Pakistanis. Now, that is regarded as the worst atrocity in India since I think the bombing of the Mumbai Stock Exchange building in 1993, which killed around 250 people. Now, the ties between the two countries had begun to warm up during the last days, shall we say, of the Musharraf regime. And as developments on the western border took center stage in Islamabad, and the army concentrated on the Pakistan army concentrated on taking on Al Qaeda and also Taliban. Taliban inspired attacks within Pakistan. Indo-Pakistan relations had taken a slight turn for the better as democracy was being restored in Pakistan. President Zardari at the time, the widower of Benazir Bhutto, he had fallen to Benazir Bhutto herself had fallen to victim to terrorists in December of that I think the previous year. So Zardari was sworn into office at that time, around that time. So in a widely quoted interview, I think in Wall Street Journal, Zardari had stated that, let me just find, I don't want to like quote people out of context. Let me just find out. So let's see. So he stated basically that Pakistan had intended to end its decades-long hostility to India. President Zardari said that Pakistan should take advantage of India's growing economic might by exporting basic materials such as cement, for example, to India. Zardari also spoke to the need to peacefully resolve the Kashmir conflict. So, just a few days before the terrorists hit Mumbai, he offered a no first strike accord to India to banish the threat of a nuclear war from the subcontinent. So, this kind of approach, this kind of reapproachment between New Delhi and Islamabad represented and always represents a threat to the various terrorist groups that have been spawned by conflicts in Afghanistan and in Kashmir over the past few decades. So they have this kind of a dream, whether it's Al Qaeda or Taliban or similar minded groups, whether in Pakistan, Afghanistan, even India, Kashmir, China, other parts of the world. They have this dream of restoring the caliphate, which, by the way, did not exist as a single entity. Um, for, for nearly 1,000 years, despite what organizations like Hizb ut-Tahrir, Al-Muhajirun, ISIS say, it did not exist for over 1,000 years. There's no way anyone's going to restore the caliphate. We can just check that out the window right now. But anyway, that's a separate issue. Now, their dreams of restoring the caliphate through a victory in a holy war and a jihad were being martyred in the cause, okay? And going to paradise were at risk between this kind of reapproachment between Indians and Pakistanis. Now, like any intelligence agency, the Pakistan Intelligence Agency did create some of these proxies that were specifically against India and specifically against the Afghan government on the backs of these militants. But this changed to an extent after the attacks on the US in 9/11. Now, Pakistan made its U-turn on the pro-Taliban policy. Cross-border infiltrations across the line of control slowed down, and after much kind of encouragement, shall we say, or prodding from the US, it kind of ground to a halt. Okay, now it seemed that the ISI and jihad has been the kind of has been chained. Okay, so but if you listen to former ISI operatives, you would think that the agency itself, the Inter-Services Intelligence Agency, was conflicted, with some agents seeking to stop its militants from carrying out attacks, whilst other agents are seeking to stop them. So you have to understand the mindset when you kind of encourage militants. Now, militants have a different mindset to intelligence agents. Now, intelligence agencies, their mission is to act as defenders of their nation, like the militaries. But intelligence agencies work in a different way than the militaries. Militaries are much more overt. Intelligence agencies are much more covert. And where the Taliban or elements, let's say specifically against India, were concerned, they were indoctrinated, they were carried out to do their duty as Muslims, to engage in jihad. They'll end up going to heaven if they didn't succeed. But this cannot be turned around quickly. So on the Indian side, the doubts lingered about Islamabad's involvement in the attacks on Mumbai. Now, the outside Pakistan, even inside Pakistan, especially under Imran Khan now, people from Imran Khan's party are saying this very loudly, that the Pakistan army is a state within a state. Now, the army itself has not really ceded control of the nation's defense and foreign policies to its civilian rulers. So in 1999, when the leaders of Pakistan and India were meeting in Lahore to build peaceful ties, the Pakistan army at that time was carrying out a covert assault on Kargil in Kashmir. Now, the terrorist attack again on the Indian Parliament in New Delhi happened in December 2001, just 3 months after 9/11. Now, within days of the Taliban-led government, when it fell to the U.S. Forces, this is when that happened. So this kind of in 2001, this brought together around 1 million troops from India and Pakistan on the border. I think by early 2002, that's when you had roughly about 1 million troops on both sides of the border. So an all-out war could have resulted in a nuclear exchange, which was averted by US and other powers, friendly nations to both India and Pakistan. Now, just imagine the mindset of those who carry out extremist attacks or terrorist attacks. They don't care about friendly relations between nations. They don't care about people. They care about two things: achieving their objective, which is the caliphate, or dying in the process of achieving that, because they believe that they're going to go to heaven. Now, this is the mindset that we are dealing with, not just Indians, Pakistanis, but people internationally. Now, if you look at the attacks in Mumbai, the blame game began. The opposition, by the way, the BJP was the opposition party in India at that time, and it hoped to regain power in the next year's general election. They themselves, like any political party, they would obviously blame the ruling party, etc., and then things will kind of lead in a different kind of way. But the Congress-led Indian government did suggest that Pakistani involvement in the in that attack or in these attacks, given the history of Indo-Pakistan relations. So that did carry weight from the Indian government, and also people outside India and Pakistan pointed the finger at Islamabad. Now, Islamabad at that time, they offered full cooperation in investigation to the Indian government. Prime Minister Gilani, who was Prime Minister under Zardari's government, he responded to an Indian request to send the head of the ISI to India to help the investigation. And but the thing is, what we need to also understand is when you allow terrorism from your soil, okay, in this case from Pakistan, against other countries, that terrorism also comes back into your country, right? And if you look at how Pakistan has, I think there's a quoted figure of about 70,000 Pakistani civilians and also military people who died in Pakistan fighting against terrorism within Pakistan. So a lot of these terrorist groups attacking Pakistan, Pakistanis inside Pakistan, were initially created or encouraged to attack outside Pakistan. You cannot, basically. I think it was John Fitzgerald Kennedy, who said, "You cannot ride a tiger without ending up inside it." So if you now look at this,
Can you repeat that?
yeah,
What did you say? What did the
yeah,
Kennedy
John
say?
Kennedy. So John Kennedy said that. I think he said this when he was president. You cannot ride a tiger. Okay, you cannot hope to ride a tiger or play with a tiger and not end up inside it in time. So
Mm.
this tiger, although tiger's a nice creature, terrorists are not nice creatures. That's basically what Pakistan over the last few
But
decades. They
yeah, but you mentioned that the Pakistan they try to maintain the friendly relationship. We should respect that, but at the same time, we should know that Pakistan has been the hub of the Islamist terrorism, whether it's training the Taliban and hosting the Taliban and training them like the Sirajuddin Haqqani, the Haqqani network, Darul Ulum Haqqaniya in Peshawar. And this is a very unfortunate situation. I know that progressive Muslims like you and progressive Muslims are there in Pakistan who want to revive the society, who want to change the society. But overall, if you see that there is a lot of extremists and extremism which is found in Pakistan, which has to be changed. So yeah, this is the biggest problem we have right now, and this is the main reason we have conducted this web conference to exchange the ideas on how to eradicate this extremism from the society, especially when the Islamists they claim to represent the Muslims and they hijack the Muslim causes and they keep the vulture activism going on. So thank you so much for all the panelists. It has been a very wonderful panel. I personally thank all the panelists for taking out personal time and speaking up for the cause to combat the surging, the problem of global Islamist terrorism. And I thank Irina Tsukerman, I thank Jassem Tamim, and I thank Mohammed Abbasi for joining us late. And I also thank Dr. Kaur that she has spoken her, heart out for the humanity. And I also thank Advocate Chandni Shah that you have taken out time, though you were busy. I know that you messaged me that you were traveling despite your busy schedule. Thank you so much, Advocate Chandni, that you have taken out time. Thank you so much. Before we end, I wish if all the panelists would share their thoughts or a small message for the audience, beginning with Irina.
For inviting me for this opportunity. Um, I think we are not at the end, but in the beginning of a major discussion uh, about alliances that are needed to take down not just terrorism, because terrorism is a tactic, it's not in itself an end goal, but extremist mindsets, extremist ideology. I know that there is a tendency for various countries and experts to focus on one or another threat, whether it's be Muslim Brotherhood or Al Qaeda or ISIS or any particular organization, but all of these groups they come from 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 a larger mindset uh, that denies pluralism, that denies coexistence, that denies national aspirations or national borders, and denies free choice, independent thinking, whether in religion or in politics or any intersection. of both, and this is what ultimately we must come together to fight against, because these groups, they ally with each other despite internal differences. They ally with state actors between their own geopolitical agendas. They ally, they exploit differences within state actors and within different blocks and groups, and they manage to bring together even seemingly desperate, completely unrelated interests. China is a communist country, it's an atheist state, it's not particularly fond of any religion, but nevertheless it comes defending terrorists against gangsters. So we have to think about forming effective, much more effective cooperation against these groups, sharing intelligence, sharing discussions, putting aside differences, and figuring out how to move forward against these newly emerging threats that are nothing like what we've seen before. Before we've had simple threats, we focused on one terrorist group or on one state actor, but now we have these coalitions aligning together with completely diverse interests, financial streams, and actors, and we need a different set of skills and different mindsets to break through all of this.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Irina. Mr. Jassem.
Thank you so much. I just wanted to make 2 points. Thank you for inviting this panel. The 2 points I wanted to make. The first one is about India and Pakistan, and I will leave it to the end. The second point is about, we've been trying to work together since 9/11 at least to stop this from happening, or to at least keep it under control. It is obvious that we cannot work together in the way we wish, like working under the same roof, under the same norm, under the same banner. But what we can do, we can work, each group work within their own constituency and within their own ideology, within their own means, to defeat, to isolate extremism. We don't need to create this. It's like what we do here, like the jihadists. They want to create the khilafah, the one global khilafah, and those who fight in them, they're trying to create the one moderate Islam that englobes everyone. This is not going to happen. There will be always sects and groups and ahzab and jama'at and everything. What we need to do, we need to stop trying to force people to believe in what we think it is correct, and we start working within our own sect, our own ideas, our own families. We need everyone to win this war. We need Muslim atheists, we need Muslim Zionists, we need Muslim communists, we need Muslim Sufi, Wahhabi, Salafi, Ash'ari. We need everyone. We should stop telling people what they should to believe in, and we should stop blaming one sect instead of the other, and empower everyone to work. And I would just want to give the example of the car industry in Italy. You know, some people they wonder why car industry never go bust, because they don't work under the same roof in the same factory. They work in small units, family businesses. And when one business go bankrupt, it gets replaced by another one. So this is exactly what was going to build our resilience, our diversity. The second point is about India and Pakistan. We need, under the same concept, we need the strong India. The stronger India is in the Islam best interests. You know, I always make this claim, and I challenge everyone to prove me wrong. And also, we need a strong Pakistan, because if Pakistan became a failed state, Pakistan have a lot to offer. You know, there are a lot of problems within the community, and there are a lot of problems with the neighborhood and the geopolitical landscape. But we need a strong Pakistan as well. So let's not fight each other. Obviously, we have to challenge extremism, but let's give everyone the chance to contribute.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Mr. Jassem. Advocate Chandni.
Yeah. Thank you, Tanvir. Thank you, everyone. It was really uh, a very happy moment to listen to all of you and your thoughts, especially being an Indian. It's good to hear the thoughts from people from from everywhere and from every kind of faith and belief. Today it's there. Me, I'm a Hindu. Zahack, Mohammed, Abbasi, we are Muslims. Jassem, you're a Jew, I guess, right? So it's really good that we all are over here with the same kind of mindset, and we all are in spite of coming from different religions and different backgrounds, we have this collective consciousness that says that this needs to stop. This this terrorizing in the name of religion needs to stop. The one thing that I want to this thing is what I believe in actually, that I would like to share, is that you know, your God or my God, Allah or Jesus or Ram or whoever we believe in, that has created the world, has created humans or has created us. First of all, they do not need protection from us. We are just petty human beings. It's like, there are earthquakes and natural disasters that come, and in split seconds they show us our the worth that we carry. So the nature and the power that is some power that is carrying out that is carrying out this universe does not need any protection from us. So if anyone is telling you that your religion or your God needs protection from the people who are not believing in your God or your religion, because it's going to be it's just a propaganda. They are just using you as scapegoats. They are just using you as tools to terrorize people. And this needs to this needs to be spoken about at large. And this starts where people who are who are clerics or who teach at madrasas, if they come out and if they tell the people, see, there are, there are two different kind of Muslims, right? One who interpret the Quran and take jihad as killing other people, and the others who are sitting over here, and there are many in the world also who think that this is not the jihad that the Quran talks about. So we need more of the people that are from the latter, from the second point that I made. We need to educate people about what your religion actually says. We need to make people stand against the wrong that is happening in the society and the community, not just, and this, what I'm saying, it is a generic statement for everyone, not just targeted to one particular community or one particular religion. But me, as a human, if I am seeing any other human doing wrong, I need to speak against it. My outrage needs to be on the crime or the act that has been committed, and not on the identity of the victim or the perpetrator. That needs to be there. So that needs to come out, and we need to be all vocal, and there needs to be a collective consciousness from everyone, a collective effort from everyone to curb the terrorism and the radicalization of the youth, especially. So yeah.
No, this will definitely
Thank
happen with the things which we are doing. I think one day this will definitely happen. Kaurji, I think Kaurji has to leave now. Kaurji, can you give your ending comments? आप कुछ बोलना चाहेंगे?
Members, I am very much proud of you that you realized the problem of the world, not the country. दो बातें मैं इसके बारे में बोलना जरूर चाहूंगी कि ये सब कुछ जिहाद के नाम पे किया जाता है। तो जिहाद के नाम, जिहाद जो है वो धर्म से जुड़ता है। तो क्या इस्लाम धर्म हमें इजाजत देता है कि आप निर्दोष लोगों के कातिल बनो, निर्दोष लोगों का कत्ल करो? पहली बात, मेरा ख्याल है नहीं देता। तो फिर हम किस धर्म की पालना कर रहे हैं? हम किस धर्म को आगे बढ़ाने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं? हम तो धर्म को खत्म कर रहे हैं। ठीक है। दूसरी बात जो मैं बहुत सोच समझ के बाद बोल रही हूं कि हर जो सोच है वो घर से शुरू होती है। अगर मेरे एक ब्रदर ने बोला था कि ये माइंड सेट है, बिल्कुल सही बोला उन्होंने। जो उन लोगों का माइंड सेट कर दिया जाता है, माइंड वॉश कर दिया जाता है ये ऐसे काम करने के लिए, तो क्या हम अपने घरों में पेरेंट्स, स्पेशली मदर्स, उन लोगों का माइंड सेट नहीं कर सकते? कर सकते हैं। तो चैरिटी बिगिंस एट होम। ये हम मानते हैं। तो ये घर से एक मदर क्यों नहीं शुरू कर सकती? इसको अपने घर से शुरू करना पड़ेगा ताकि ये बाहर ना जाए। और अगर हर मदर, हर फादर ये सोच लेता है कि मैंने अपने बच्चे को ऐसा नहीं सोचने देना, ऐसा नहीं करने देना, तो मुझे नहीं लगता कि संसार में कहीं भी ये जो एक्सट्रीमिस्ट जिसका हमने नाम अत्तवाद रखा हुआ है, ये कहीं भी जा सकता है। इसको खत्म होना है और इसको खत्म करना है तो हमें खुद ही कदम उठाना पड़ेगा। थैंक यू वेरी
बहुत
मच।
बढ़िया, बहुत बढ़िया, थैंक यू सो मच। मिस्टर अब्बासी, your ending comments please.
Thank you very much. I'm extremely encouraged, Zach, and I was going to say my friends, but I'm going to say my brothers and sisters on this forum from all backgrounds, because what we're doing here is we are discussing things openly and honestly about things away from this kind of mindset of political correctness, wokeism, and this kind of left mentality where we color in our language just to make the other person feel at ease. We need more of these, Zach, and our friends. We need to talk about these kind of things openly and honestly, and that is the only way that we can challenge the mentality of extremism in all its forms. Where Pakistan is concerned, I think it needs to take a leaf out of the Saudi book. The Saudis have schools to retrain jihadis which have been netted during various anti-terrorism raids, and they are trying to bring them back into the fold of civil society. Now, eh, some people say that the jihadis are often lacking in basic religious knowledge. That's true, but at the same time, the reason jihadis become violent is because they have used elements of the Quran, of the Hadith, of the Sunnah, used it and manipulated to attack other people. They have dropped out of society of various religions. And when people drop out of society for various religions, they end up becoming part of an agenda of others, of demagogues. Now, we need to find a way of retraining some of these people to enter civil society and move away from this kind of terrorist behaviors. I think it's time that collectively, Pakistan, India, Saudi Arabia, other nations, honestly the scourge of terrorism and extremism and find a way of moving ahead. Again, my best wishes to all of you, and Sister Chandni, is fantastic, and also Gorji. It's refreshing to see and hear our Indian sisters, and I'm speaking this as someone from Pakistani background, who are openly talking about things that I think a lot more of us should be talking about. And again, my best to everyone, and let's find a way of building on this and moving things forward. And thanks
I
again,
I
Zach.
wish to we wish to see you all in another web conference. Thank you so much. Thank you. Take care. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Tanvir. Thank you.